I'm Hannah Mears. I'm the team reporter for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's been awesome here to see all of the fan support for PiratesFest 2026 alongside Alex Presley. You may have known him from his days as a Pittsburgh Pirate. He's also one of our, round of applause, thank you, one of our SportsNet broadcasters. You probably see him frequently on the pre- and post-game shows. But also, this is our live edition of the Bucs Bounty podcast that he and Michael McHenry have been doing a great job at hosting all off-season to keep you updated with the latest and greatest Pirates news. So, Alex, great to have you here. What's your impression? You haven't been back here in a while, you said.
I know. This is my first Pirate Fest in probably, 13 years maybe? 2012. We used to do the Pirate Caravan back when I was here. We'd travel around to West Virginia and all types of places, stay overnight, do stuff with fans. So, pretty well versed in this, but getting right back into the groove pretty quickly.
Are you feeling the general excitement headed into the 2026 season as the rest of the fans have been feeling here, as well as our players? We've talked to several this weekend, and I can tell you they're really excited for the off-season acquisitions that have happened and getting ready to go to spring training and see some new faces in the clubhouse.
Yeah, it's always good to see the Pirates active in the offseason. We love that. And just the general, like you said, the energy around here has a different feel to it. It has a feeling of optimism. And we're ready for the season to start. Football's done. Let's get going. We still got hockey. We're still working on that. But we're ready for baseball. This is it.
And thanks for everyone for coming out. I know the conditions are cold, but Pirates Fest generally means that 70-degree sunny weather in Bradenton, Florida, you start to get the baseball feel ready to go. And I know somebody who is so anxious to get down to Bradenton with the guys, get himself back healthy, and get back on a mound is Pirates starting pitcher Jared Jones, everybody. Please give it up for Jared Jones as he's going to run up and join us on the stage. I know he's not loving this weather, but one thing's for sure, he's been loving being here and being with all of you. Jared, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. How's it been out here at Pirates Fest?
Oh, it's been fun. I'm glad to be back in Pittsburgh.
Everyone's happy to have you here. I have to ask you, he had said that it felt like Christmas morning when he got to throw a baseball again after his injury. I saw you yesterday back on a mound, maybe not the one fans are super familiar with. Over here at the wiffle ball field, you were throwing to some kids. You were pitching. Did it feel good to be back out there?
No, it felt terrible. I kept giving up homers, and I got really mad.
So we have some bright future bats in Pittsburgh is what I hear, though, if you're giving up some homers.
It was like 10%. They should be hitting homers.
Jared, somebody that did hit a homer off you, I'm very curious. It's exciting time right now in Pittsburgh, some new guys coming in. But Ryan O'Hearn is one of them. Yeah, you can hang your head on that. Don't worry, he's your teammate now. Jared tweeted out that he's glad he's on his team now because he recalls him hitting a home run off of him. So tell us a little bit about that. What do you remember about that? Are you more excited now that he's on your side?
Yeah, that was the first homer I gave up in the show, so that one's just a little bit more bittersweet. But yeah, glad I don't have to face him anymore.
What's it been like, though, to see some of these new faces that are going to be around? Does it give you an extra level of excitement?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun when we acquire a new hitter, and they've had a great season last year. We had 2 All-Stars, and Lau and O'Hearn, and then I think Mangum's a really good baseball player. So excited to see what they can do in our lineup.
Alex, I know you were excited as well seeing some of the new acquisitions, and particularly when you're talking about maybe what we saw last year, the new faces come through the Pirates organization and start to make their mark. I mean, what excites you about the fact that the starting pitching rotation and the bullpen and different guys we saw make their debuts to join guys like Jared Jones in that rotation soon?
Yeah, I mean, we saw guys like Ashcraft. We saw Bubba Chandler make his debut. Just these opportunities that opened up. I mean, the roster never stays the same the whole season. Things happen, and guys get their opportunity, and they see guys seize that. Has kind of put this rotation, I think, a little bit ahead of where it might have been otherwise. But love the new additions through free agency and the trades. Love Mangum. He's a lot like me in a lot of respects. We like to hit it somewhere and run fast. So guys like that are definitely something I feel like we've missed a little bit around here, those gamers, just to roll the ball and make things happen. So obviously O'Hearn and Lau, some power bats, left-handers, so good ballpark to hit left-handed in. I have a little bit of a story of a guy that I hit my first home run off of. I ended up being teammates with later was JoJo Reyes. He was a left-hander for the Blue Jays, and give him a nice little ribbing, but not too much. The pitchers are kind of sensitive every now and then, so we try to just, we try to be nice as much as we can. They get us more than we get them, so.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Maybe you can ask for O'Hearn's autograph. I think we need to find that ball and have O'Hearn sign it for Jared at spring.
I'm good on that.
Jared, a pitcher that it's hard not to talk about anytime we mentioned your name last year, the year before, and of course when you talk about Pirates pitching is your buddy Paul Skeens. When we looked out there, we saw his Cy Young recreation of what his living room was like when he won that award. I know you were there to support. What was it like, first and foremost, just to see him win that and be there to celebrate that moment?
Yeah, so did you guys ask him to ship it out here for this or what? Because it's pretty spot on.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, pretty spot on. But
even Rue, they even have the life-size creation there of Rue.
Why isn't Goober in there?
We need Goober. Who didn't print out Goober?
I don't know.
That is Jared's dog. Looks a lot like Rue, not Rue.
But yeah, being there was a lot of fun. He told me a week or so before that he was having a party and couldn't not go.
What was it like to know that he's sort of reaching the pinnacle of those accolades you want individually, but also his main focus every time he talks about it is to make sure that the guys around him are getting better and you guys are going to win and win here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I feel like those are just trophies for him. I think his main goal in baseball is winning championships, and he wants to do that here, so having a leader like that in the clubhouse is pretty cool.
What about you, Jared? What have you been up to this offseason? Besides marrying your better half, I mean, what's that been like for you? He has a ring on his finger, everybody. Congratulations. A beautiful wedding in Hawaii. His beautiful wife now, Riley. I mean, what was that like for you? Pretty cool to just have some personal time off to celebrate a big moment.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. She wanted a wedding on a cliff, so she ended up getting a wedding on a cliff and ended up being 12 hours away from where we live. But yeah, we got that done, and I don't think we could have had a better week.
Well, I know Alex and I are really curious, aside from just that, looking into baseball this year. I know you more than anyone is ready to pick up a baseball and throw it 100 miles per hour again. Can you let our fans know where you're at with your progression and how close you are to be putting on this jersey in Pittsburgh again?
Yeah, I'm throwing pretty hard right now, but not my hardest. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Everything's coming out well, so we'll see where we're at in spring training and go forward from there.
We have some new numbers as well. Jared is transitioning his number, so I'm sorry if you bought his jersey before, but he now is going to be number 17. Jared, why the switch?
Yeah, I wore it in high school. Basically all my life. My dad wore it when he played, and my grandpa wore it when he played, so it's more of a family number for me, and when that became available, it was a no-brainer.
Do you think that's going to bring you some luck then heading into this season?
I hope so.
If anybody out there, I think the kids need to know something. Aside from just trying to get better at baseball, trying to heal his arm so we can see him back at the Bulldog on the mound we love to see again, Jared also had to entertain himself a lot during the season. He purchased remote control boats for his backyard to play in his pond. He also got a golf cart. Tell us, what did you have the most fun with?
Currently the golf cart, because that's lasted the longest. The boat lasted a week, and the RC plane lasted 10 minutes. Yeah, got that one up in the air, and it came right back down on me.
Well, Jared's an awesome follow on social media for anybody if you like to see any of that. So any kids out there, if you need lessons on how to maybe not wreck an RC plane or a little remote control boat, Jared's your guy. But also, if you would like lessons in pitching, we're all going to get to see Jared Jones back on the mound in 2026, and I know everyone's super excited about it. I also know you have to go really quickly. So, Alex, any final questions here for our guy?
Who planned so your wife was planning the wedding, you just kind of said, sure, we'll do that? Is that kind of how that went? You have more time, unfortunately, to plan, but how involved were you in the planning?
0%. I said, here's my card.
As you should,
Sounds right.
as I'm sure that's how it goes for everybody. Jared, it's great to see your smile again. I know there's a long road ahead of you here, but we can't wait to see you back on the mound in 2026. We appreciate it. Everyone, Jared Jones.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man.
Always great to see a guy like Jared. I know that fire, that energy. Hearing Natasha Bedingfield play through PNC Park again is something we all definitely want. Alex, I know you're probably excited to see him get going again. He just adds such a great, tenacious piece to that starting rotation.
He does. I mean, anytime you can add a guy with that kind of arm and that kind of fastball to a rotation and that fire on the mound, you can just feel it when he's out there. He's coming at you and giving everything he has. So good things are going to happen when he's on the mound for the Pirates.
I'd love to say that everyone started clapping for you in that response,
I know
but unfortunately,
I could feel Neil breathing on my shoulder.
You can feel the presence of the hometown hero, Neil Walker, joining us now, everybody. All right, he wants a round of applause. He needs it. I don't know if anyone gets a better ovation than you do, Neil.
Oh, no, just you, Hannah, only you.
Oh, right, of course. Neil, what's it like being at Pirates Fest in 2026, getting to connect with some Pirates fans here? Oh, Penn State. Did you hear that? That was for me. How has it been for you?
It's great. I think this, I haven't counted, but I think this might be my 18th or 19th Pirate Fest. So I might be leading the circuit in that, and it's always really fun to come and see all the fans and to feel the energy and optimism of the upcoming season. And there's a lot to look forward to this year.
Well, with that being said, when you talk about you've been around Pirates Fest for a long time, what about this one? What's been the general level of excitement? Because I have felt it from the fan base and from the players alike. There is a certain excitement in the air here, everyone getting ready for spring training and seeing what this team's potentially shaping up to look like.
Yeah, very much so. And, Alex and I obviously played together during, the years that we, were just kind of getting over that hump to playing playoff baseball. And the fans can sense that. The players certainly can sense that, and the coaching staff and whatnot. And, you felt they had a really nice run for a little while last year and the year before, just like we kind of did in 2011 and 2012 before that 13 season. And I feel some of that momentum, and we felt it as players going into that 13 year. And you feel it here. You look around, you see what this pitching staff could be with the addition of a couple bats, and it's very, very exciting. And I personally think, at least on paper, this is one of the better teams we've had here in a long time.
Yeah, and when you look back to those years in 2012, 2013, 14, and you had those homegrown guys, which we have now, and you had the guys that were added in to fill some spots, and it feels more like you said, it kind of feels like that right now with the O'Hearns and the Mangums. You're kind of getting the guys that are fit into a role with the group that's already here. So excited to see how those guys gel, and you have the guys that have played together for a while now. So mix it all in and.
Well, and that's how we felt, during those years leading up to 13, 14, 15. Is you looked around, you had the Starling Martes and the Polancos that were the younger guys coming up, and you knew they were uber talented. Myself and Kutch and so, a couple other guys were there for a handful of years and kind of knew what we needed to do to pull in the same direction. And then you add guys like Burnett and Russell Martin. We had a lot of leaders on that team. We had a lot of guys that were pulling in the same direction, and the one common goal every day was just find a way to win. And you win series. And we like to talk a lot about when you have 3-game series, find ways to win 2 or 3. You keep doing that over the course of the season, you're going to be very successful. And when you get into August and September, you're going to have a chance to make the playoffs.
What is it like when you're looking at the way this team is shaping up, the guys that have been acquired? There's a lot of competition, specifically in the infield. There might be challenges with a lot of guys having to potentially learn a new position in order to be on that roster. What's both exciting about that as an opportunity for a player, but also, what does that do for a team to know you have that depth? It seems like there's a high level of competition we're about to see in spring.
Yeah, and I think when you look at offensively, when you look at the positions and what could possibly be with a righty on the mound and a lefty on the mound, it's pretty good. You look at the top of the order and the middle part and the late part. You got some guys not only that can play defense and play defense very well, like you can bounce around a Lau if you need to, and you can O'Hearn. You got a couple left-handed bats that not only can put the ball in play, but can hit the ball in the seats. And as you know, and as I know, as left-handers, you want guys that can pull the ball and hit more balls toward that right center wall and that Clemente wall, because that's where a lot of damage happens. Don't hit it to left center.
Yeah. Alex, what's interesting about that, though, because there are a lot of lefties, and obviously when we had talked to general manager Ben Cherington, they weren't super worried about how left-handed heavy that lineup looked yet, only because it's early. They're just trying to get depth right now. We're trying to make the Pittsburgh Pirates better in 2026. So what's interesting, though, about having those options now?
Well, I think they got guys that are good hitters. It's one thing to get lefties that have a lot of swing and miss. And you look at Lau and you look at O'Hearn, they're guys that know how to hit. They're veterans, 30, 32 years old, been around for a while, and they're guys that can pull the ball in the air effectively. So you have Lau, I looked it up today, actually, 28 of his 31 home runs were to the pull side. That plays well. We don't want to hit it to left field in the air because I'm out. You probably hit a little further than me to left center, but I'm out. But I think it was more of get guys that work for the ballpark. It wasn't just a throw a dart and say, hey, we need a left-handed hitter. I think there was a little more to it than that. And when you really dig into the numbers, you can see that.
And you know, you think about guys like O'Neal Cruz that had a lot of ups and downs last year. There were stretches that he handled lefties very, very well. Yep. And I'm going to be looking at him in spring training to see, you know, if Donnie decides to try to get him more bats against left-handers, because my goodness, if you could have O'Neal sitting in the middle of the lineup day in and day out, lefty, righty, on top of really good hitters like Lau and O'Hearn, that's dangerous. And, you know, you may be looking at a breakout year for O'Neal. That's the guy that I'm really hoping that's the case. Exciting.
I like that prediction. We had spoke with O'Neal Cruz yesterday in media, and he had talked about focusing on hitting against left-handed pitchers. So that is a focus for him. He also got a haircut. So I think that's going to bring him some luck. He said he was thinking about putting some color in it before he came here, but he said a beanie on. So O'Neal, you know, cut the dreads. He's ready to go. I think there's a rejuvenated sense to him, and I'm excited to see what he can do in 2026 as well. But there's not just additions from a player perspective. From a coaching perspective, there's a lot of changes as well. Someone specifically I want to talk to you both about. You have familiarity with Tony Beasley, the new third base coach. Neil, how instrumental was he at one point in your career? You had overlapped with him when he was managing Altoona. Tell me about how influential he was at a point in your career where you had to make a shift.
This is a terrific human being, number one. He's been around the game of baseball. He's what I consider a lifer, somebody that has had many roles in baseball as a player and as a coach and as a manager, and has obviously been a third and first base coach at the major league level for a long time. He's very knowledgeable, and on top of that, he understands how difficult the game is. He is a very good communicator, something that Donnie really, really likes, because Donnie's a very good communicator too, and somebody that just has a calming presence. And when people meet him, you're not going to get to know a lot about the first and third base coach for the most part, but I'm telling you, this is a special human being, one that's going to provide value, not just to the staff, but to the players and the people around him. He's a guy that just lifts people up, and he pumps the tires, I like to say, and you're going to get the most out of him. And he's pretty good at what he does at third, too. He doesn't mess up many signals over the course of the year.
And he helped you transition from a position at one point in Altoona, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, when I transitioned from catcher to third base, he was an integral part to helping me, especially adjust on the mental side of it, and to not stress so much about it, but get your work in and trust what you're doing, and you know you're going to go through the ups and downs. And he wasn't beating me up because it was a struggle at first to make that transition. And somebody that every time I got a chance, when I saw him as a player, and when he left Pittsburgh, that I made sure I gave a big hug and said, you know, thank you for everything you've done.
Well, now you're going to be able to hug him a couple more times, hopefully this season, and hopefully more players get to have that same experience. Alex, I know you had a similar one in terms of just knowing he's such a good guy. You got to experience what it was like to work with him. So what was it? What excites you about the fact that he's going to be someone who impacts this year's team?
Yeah, he's a guy, when I came up in 2010 and debuted, you were there, third base coach, and he was a guy that really would talk to me and get to know me. He's one of the guys I remember the most on that staff, and he's a winner. He won a World Series in Texas. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's been around. He's coached third forever, but it's not just the coaching third, like Neil was talking about. It's getting to know you on a different level as a human, not just a player. And when you know somebody cares about you as a player, it makes it a lot easier to work with them and know that they have your best interests at heart. And that's exactly who Bees was, and is. But yeah, I mean, we had like 35 guys up. This is back when there was no roster limits. I mean, we could barely even fill out the locker room, was overflowing, and he would come talk to me, you know. So always remember stuff like that.
Speaking of guys who really care, who people want to play hard for, people like myself want to work for and work with each day, is manager Don Kelly. And I think it's been evident here this weekend at Pirates Fest. Everyone's loved to see him, hear from him. He's so genuine. He's a Pittsburgher. He's a gritty guy. He tells you the honest truth. Neil, you have the privilege of being family members with him as well. To see him get this real opportunity to go into spring, have everything in his hands, he has control of the reins. How excited are you for him to have this opportunity?
Very excited, and obviously being a local guy, you know how much he cares for the city and cares for the fan base and wants to win, but he gets it. And I talked about it kind of earlier on stage with Donnie about what a great communicator he is. What he cares. He wants to make sure everybody is confident and feeling like he has their back, and he genuinely cares. And guys like him that played and were utility guys and were the 25th guy on a roster, those guys are extremely valuable because they have to look at the game in a different light. They're not playing the same position every day and hitting in the same spot in the order and only kind of focus on a couple things. He played outfield. He played infield. He caught a few times. He sat the bench a lot. He got to watch. He got to talk to the pitchers a lot. He'd seen this game from so many different angles, and I have always felt like the ex-catchers and the ex-utility guys made the best managers, and I truly believe that with Donnie.
That's an interesting point, too. They see so much. They do so much. He has been so instrumental as well to so many players on this team. Not a single person has a bad thing to say about him. I mean, not that they'd say it on camera anyway, I don't think. But no, they're honest, and he holds people accountable. He sticks to his word. He's a gritty guy. We love having him around. Alex, I'm curious to hear what you think when, we're around the team a lot. We're around DK a lot. We see that from the outside perspective as well. What do you notice when you're watching a Pirates game and you see him managing the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Well, I was kind of shocked when he was getting tossed over and over in the beginning. I was like, nice.
I think he was too.
They know that you have their back now, buddy. Like, you're doing it. But not to reiterate what Neil was saying, but the fact that he's I was more of a utility, but more of like a utility outfielder. I didn't play all the time. A lot of times guys that were bench coaches or managers couldn't relate to that whatsoever and didn't know that I needed certain things, that I needed a heads up that would help me get prepared for certain situations. So a lot of times I felt like I was on my own at the end of the bench watching, which is kind of what DK did to some extent. And you learn the game that way and you start to anticipate managerial moves. Not as many now with the DH, but when we had pitchers hitting, I mean, you're looking at pitch counts, you got double switches. So there's just so much that he was able to learn in all those different ways. But you see the relationships with the players. I mean, you saw him with O'Neal Cruz. He's like, man, sit this one out, man, and then we'll figure it out. We'll get you out there next time. And players respect honesty more than just about anything. Instead of guessing what somebody thinks, just tell me. Even if it's good, bad, ugly, what do I need to do to improve? And I think DK understands how important that is.
It's going to be exciting to get to see him really put his identity all over this team in 2026. I know everyone's going to be backing him and be behind him, but I'm also curious, guys. You kept talking about how you guys were teammates. I'm sure we'd love to hear what that experience was like. Alex, first and foremost, what was it like being the hometown heroes teammate over here with Neil Walker?
Well, I think you got a little bit of a taste of it when he was coming on stage, when everybody was clapping and I'm talking, and I knew I could just feel him shadow looming over me in the background. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun with all the guys. Kutch, we had a great group. Jay Hay, everybody kind of coming up in waves. Neil and Kutch were the wave right before me, and it was me, Jordy Mercer, Jay Hay, that whole group, and we kind of just meshed and became one, man. And it was just a lot of fun. Neil's a jokester. He likes to get on you a little bit.
And Alex,
he's very kind-hearted, though.
And Alex was not the only one. He was more serious on his day-to-day. So he was target number one for me when I would make sure that he wasn't getting too serious, and he wasn't alone. But to this point, we had a lot of guys, a lot of different personalities. Like Jay Hay, he show up every day with the energy, and we were all pulling in the same direction. We just wanted to win, and we knew that if we continued to play together and for one another, regardless of who was making what and what all-stars we may or may not have on the team, we were going to give ourselves a chance to win, and that's exactly what happened.
You two both know what it's like to see winning baseball in Pittsburgh, as you were saying, when you finally are seeing it go to be over the hump. Neil, for the fans here, what is your prediction of 2026? What excites you most about what the Pittsburgh Pirates could do?
Well, I think number one, they're gonna pitch across the board. I think, we saw what it looked like when we were able to score 4+ runs for the team, and it was, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. It was a challenge to put runs up consistently, but when they did, they were putting together good stretches. And when you're getting consistent starting pitching like we know we have the capability of doing, that gives you a chance day in and day out. The bullpen looks like it's gonna still be in a good spot with a couple additions, and you look at the offense, especially on paper and what it could look like. That's exciting. It's better than it was last year at this time. So then it turns to, can we stay healthy? Can we stay consistent? And can we give ourselves a chance going into August? That's always the big thing. You can't win anything in April and May, but you can make life extremely difficult on yourself if you don't play well in April and May. And once you hit that All-Star break and going into late July and August, you need to be playing your best baseball and give yourself a chance. And when I look at the division and you think about, the Brewers are always going to be there. They found ways to do it. The Cardinals seem to be going in the different direction, at least on paper right now. The Cubs are making a push right now, and Cincinnati is a young team that has some momentum too. We got a chance, and we don't have to win 100 games, but we need to find ways to get to that 83, 84, 85, 86 win category, and I think we're going to give ourselves a chance to make the playoffs.
You did say that you think O'Neill's due for a big season. For somebody in spring training you're going to have your eye on, aside from him having a big season, who's the most interesting player to watch in spring? Maybe when it comes to a position battle, somebody who could be transitioning to be able to make the roster, or maybe young prospects out there who could be fun to watch. Who do you guys think?
Connor Griffin.
Oh,
I think it's that simple.
The number one prospect.
I want to see what he's going to do in spring, and I don't know what the plan is for him and how quick the plan is for him, but I think he has the ability to kick the door down, to make it a very difficult decision to send him to AAA. But, I mean, there's a lot of other guys, too, that are kind of on the fringes of the roster that you like to see. You like the left field is kind of intriguing to me. We got Mangum, we got Joe Stinson, is that correct? Garcia, the password. He's coming in, and as a right-handed hitter, which is what this team needs, so we'll see what he does. Jack Sawinski. So we have some talent, some guys that can move around in the outfield and fill some spots. So, but yeah, I'm interested in seeing Connor Griffin play.
I'll definitely second that, and I am very interested to see how the catching position. Joey struggled a little bit offensively this past year. We saw what he can do 2 years ago offensively on top of catching. And Henry, I really think he's going to make some strides this year too. We saw how well he did catching-wise and handling the staff. Man, how great would it be if we could see that bat come around and really get more consistent with the bat and just have good at-bats day in and day out. Obviously, first things first with catchers is the defense, taking care of the staff. But when you get when you have guys like Joey did 2 years ago and was hitting basically fourth every day, that was huge. Yep. But these catchers also, they're not catching every single day either. So you got to have both these guys going in the right direction. And I think Henry is in that same category as O'Neill.
There's no doubt in my mind that Henry Davis works so hard. We talk about it. I don't know if the fans have heard a lot of the stories we tell about it. There might be nobody that outworks him in that clubhouse. Every day, him and Joey are in there at 11 a.m. depending on the game time. If it's in the evening, they're still there earlier than everyone, making sure that they're up to date with their preparation. So I don't know if anyone prepares as hard as he does. He's one of the hardest workers in the clubhouse. It would be great to see that pay off. But Neil, before we let you go here, what's your message to the fans here? How excited were you to see everybody? I know they love having you. How much do you appreciate Pittsburgh and the fact that they showed up, even though it is negative temperatures outside? We're expecting a snowstorm too.
Yeah, listen, we all appreciate the support of the fans here in Pittsburgh. We feel it as players and as staff members and as broadcasters. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. You're going to be rewarded, and I really, really believe that. And God bless you all, and let's show a lot of support here in 2026 because we got some good times coming.
Thank you, Neil. Neil Walker, everybody. Neil is always so well-spoken. We really appreciate him. We celebrated his 40th birthday this year as well on air, so happy belated now to Neil. But that was a really fun moment to get to see. Another guy that we get to celebrate a lot of moments with throughout the season. You all know him. You love him. You've watched him in his career. Former Pittsburgh Pirates infielder Kevin Young. He's obviously a fan favorite over here, so we have to give him his time to come over. He does all the broadcasting now with us on SportsNet. Love to see his big smile. We're happy to see him here. Came all the way from the warm weather to brace the cold with us and be up here on Bucs Bounty on stage. KY, how's it been being here at Pirates Fest?
It's been wonderful, Hannah. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Good to see you guys. Thanks. What's up, Alex?
How's your off season been? Have you got to enjoy the kids, everything they're doing? His kids are very athletic. His daughter, one heck of a volleyball player as well.
Yeah, I did. I got to enjoy that. That's over with now. And now, after the Steelers eliminate from the playoffs, it's officially baseball season.
Correct.
So pretty excited about that. Let's go.
We're excited to have you here, but KY, a similar question that we sort of started off asking Neil, because there's no doubt when you look around and you see fans being excited, but today and yesterday, talking with a lot of players, there was a different level of excitement from them, and I feel as though you got a similar aura about them. We spend a lot of time around these guys. We can sense when they're telling the truth, when they feel off. There is a sense of they are beyond ready and anxious to get going for this season.
No, you nailed it. I mean, a lot of these guys, you see them come in, and usually in the offseason, guys come back this time of year about ready to get it. They look a little bigger, a little stronger, and they get intensity. You see the intensity in their faces, getting really started up, getting down to Bradenton, getting to feel, what it's going to be like, but they sense it. I think that's one of the biggest things, sitting up there listening to in the green room with these guys, spending some time with them. You hear the conversations that they're having, and they're talking about winning, right now. And so, like I said, that's something that gives you a lot of encouragement if you're a Pirate fan, and I think we all are Pirate fans deep down in our hearts. So I'm pretty excited about watching these guys go out and get after it, because they really got a good opportunity to do some good things.
Yeah, KY, Alex, I want you guys to know too, and for the fans, when you talked about guys getting bigger, stronger, Termarr Johnson is one of those guys. He's been around the Pirates organization now for about 5 years. He's been developing. He was drafted so young. He's essentially grown up with all of you and with all of us. He had a really good second half to that Double-A season in Altoona. And talking to him today, he had said that he put a lot of emphasis on getting stronger, working on his body. He hit up some Pilates classes. It just seemed like he had turned a page of maturity and was really focusing on, how do I really make that next step? It is getting closer. I had seen you having a conversation with him, and I know
you don't miss anything.
I don't miss a beat, KY. You can't do anything without me seeing it. You never know where I'm lurking.
You're right.
But I'm curious to know what, he's always someone who seems to be picking someone's brain. He wants to get better. What intrigues you about, him, and what were those conversations like? Yeah,
I think the desire to get better. I mean, obviously, I think that's one thing you said. Being a high school draft, you learn a lot about coming into pro baseball. And so for him, trying to understand how to mold himself into what he needs to be an impact player here in Pittsburgh. And sometimes when you're that far away, it's very hard to really see what that looks like, and you go through taking your lumps. And so when just having conversations with him, talking to him about what the city of Pittsburgh looks for in a everyday player that impacts the city. And it's not about the glamour, the glamorous part of it. It's about the hard work, the dedication, the commitment to playing the game and practicing the game one pitch at a time. And so that was the discussion we had earlier, just talking about that and understanding. He was pretty transparent about some of the downfalls that he's had, which is always good, because the one big thing about this game is about humility. I mean, that's all every baseball player that's put on this uniform, and many like that. They have to learn how to be humble, because this game will humble you. And so I think that was a big part of those conversations, and looking forward to watching him really advance in that growth as well.
Yeah, you were talking, Press, about Connor Griffin earlier, and I think Termarr is one of the guys I really want to see in spring training really make it his own and take that next step, because it did feel like he has a different sense of humility to him, a different sense of confidence. So excited for a lot of those young prospects. But when you're talking about the transition into the major leagues, what I was really interested in hearing was a lot of guys this weekend. For Rafa, he said it felt like baseball is just baseball. For a guy like Jake Mangum, who was in college a lot longer, debuted at the age of 29, he said it felt like a huge leap for him. So starting with Press, I'm curious, what was that jump to the big leagues like for you? Who was more validated there, or did you feel in your career everyone had just maybe a different experience with what they thought?
I think it's definitely personality based, and when I got up, it took me a minute. I was a little bit, I remember being super excited, but super nervous, and I was doing things that I hadn't done, or I'm trying to be somebody that I wasn't on my road to get there. And it took me a minute to figure out, hey, this is who I am, and this plays as well in the big leagues, and to not abandon what had gotten me there at the same time. So just different guys. I mean, look at Tamar's, we talked about Tamar a second ago, just finding himself, right? Young kid, always the youngest kid in the league that he's playing in. Everybody forgets how young he was, but he's finding his way. You deal with failure, and that's how you move forward. I mean, rarely does anybody go into this game and not fail, so you use those as opportunities to get better, to prepare you for the ultimate goal to play in the big leagues. And a lot of these guys, the top prospects, their goal isn't just to get there. Their goal is to be great there. So there's a big difference in getting somewhere and trying to stay, and the mindset of, I'm supposed to be here, and I'm going to be here for a long time doing some great things.
No, that's good. I mean, I do believe that. I think one of the best things that, for me, coming into pro baseball, I had an opportunity. The two guys that really impacted me the first were Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds, because they really showed me what it looks like to be an impact player in a lineup.
Brag.
And so I think that, so that was one of the things that I realized coming into pro ball. If you really want to be a standout player, this is what it looked. And these guys drove in 100 RBIs and they scored 100 runs a year. And so for me, that's how I looked at it. Like, what does it look like to be able to do that in your training, how you think, how you process? And then ultimately, Willie Stargell was a big part of it as well when he came back to the organization, because it helped me understand what type of teammate that you need to be to impact your fellow teammates. And so, I mean, that transition is big. It's always one of those things that we talk to, and pulling it back into tomorrow, like you asked. I think one thing that helped him was, like we said, when Connor Griffin got called up to Altoona. I think that was a big part of it, because now you realize the talent level is coming. It's constantly coming, and it forces you to bring out that best part of you as well. And so Tamar got to benefit from having Connor Griffin be up there with him in Altoona as well.
And he said that. He said, I benefited a lot from having him just as a teammate, though, too. He said, I want to play with him at every level. So it'll be interesting to watch that relationship grow as well. But, KY, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, is a good word to use when we look at the Pirates in spring training, which is coming up so soon. So many guys, a lot of depth, fighting for similar positions. And some guys that we've seen be staples here for the Pirates the last couple years, Jared Triolo, Nick Gonzalez. What's really interesting about the level of competition that you see heading into spring, and who has an opportunity to either transition to make the roster or maybe be pushed out by someone if they don't level up?
Yeah, I think it's healthy competition, right, Hannah? I mean, that's what you want to have. When you're a fan of a ball club or a team, you want to have healthy competition, because that best foot is going to always show itself at some point. But so you have guys that go into their offseason, like a Nick Gonzalez or a Jared Triolo. They had another year of playing baseball at the professional level, at the top level, and they figured out, how can I improve? How can I be a better version of myself for the upcoming season? So that's how we all go into the offseason as players, thinking about how to impact that moving forward. So that's why you come in, you see guys maybe a little stronger looking. Maybe they worked on some things a little differently. That's why spring training is so important. When you come into spring training, you don't come in there to get in shape. You come in there to impact and show what you've been working on. And so you have guys like that, I think, they'll come in. Not to mention, we have some guys that are everyday starters in our lineup, opposed to having guys that are having a lot of platoon-type players. So Donnie Kelly and Ben Sherrington, they both have done a good job of acquiring players that are absolutely able to impact that lineup on a daily basis, so you don't feel like you're doing a lot of, matchup situations. You have everyday guys in that lineup, and that's what it comes to. Neil mentioned it earlier, because when we were in player development, when those guys came through, they were all impact players. So it's nice to have guys that they're in the lineup, they play every day, because you get a feel for what the lineup needs on a day-to-day basis.
Did you start to feel that with Jared Triolo last year? When he was in the lineup consistency, we saw a shift. Now, I don't know if part of that, too, when we had talked to him, sure, maybe he went to AAA, got a refresh, came back up, but it seemed like consistency was key for him, and he found something.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, and that's a struggle for young players. A lot of times if they get called up and they don't get the proper runway, it's kind of like, hey, you get cold and you're hot, but you're always feeling like you're never quite there yet. Jared Triolo, after the Key Bryant trade, that really opened up the door for him getting in the lineup more consistently, and you got the result of that. You saw more consistent play for him offensively, and it worked out. And so that's the key. As we said before, now moving forward, we'll look and have those guys max out their true abilities, and you get to see all the different ways they can impact the lineup.
I'm curious from both of you. I know that O'Neal Cruz has been a hot topic among fans as well. We got to see him this weekend. How excited are you to see him potentially take a step forward in the outfield, both as a leader, because there were moments last year where Brian Reynolds had admitted, O'Neal said this. Tommy Pham had said this was something O'Neal had said. He started becoming more confident in his voice and in his play there. So what excites you about him being in center field again after a full year of that under his belt?
Well, just from a physical standpoint, he's maybe the most talented player in Major League Baseball metrically, right? And learning a position, he didn't have the luxury of playing X amount of minor league games to figure out the outfield. He went straight in the center field in the big leagues. Up the middle in Major League Baseball are some of the most important positions there is, and learning how to communicate and learn your teammates next to you and what they can get to and what you can get to. And you have to build a chemistry, and you have to look at it as a group. You guys are a group, so you're moving. There's a lot of responsibility in center, and to find his voice out there and to recognize situations where, hey, I'm going to be a couple steps this way, Brian, you come with me. These just seem like small things, but how many times have you seen a ball just be out of reach of somebody's glove in the outfield, right? And it could be because they moved the wrong direction or they moved the right direction, right? But just to see him mature in that way, and this is the first time we've seen him play a full season of standing around in center, right? So I don't think it's super coincidental that he kind of had a tougher year at the plate than he's had in the past, because he's on his feet. I don't know what the number is. I've calculated in the past. I don't remember how far you run total in a season out to center and back, right? It's miles. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of 162 games, you start to feel it a little bit. And then when you lose your legs and you start to hit, it's tough.
Those are the little things that I don't think people notice.
No, it's like I said, and in our game, I always say there's no such thing as little things, because we play every single day. And again, this is a 6'7" body that's playing center field, and he's stealing bases, and he's impacting the game with his legs all the time. So yes, it absolutely affected him in some areas. So now that he's had that, like you said, under his belt for a full season, and let's face it, I mean, offensively, a lot of our big name players underachieved last year. So that is what gets us hopeful and looking forward to this year. And how many times do you add 2 All-Stars in the offseason? That's a big deal. So you have O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, a lot of these guys coming back and playing the type of baseball that they play. That's why you have people getting excited about the offense. And so for me, O'Neal Cruz, I think that's a perfect example of a guy that can literally carry a ball club throughout the course of a month, because I watch him come up through our system. And it's nothing better than watching him get hot for an entire month. It is mind-blowing what this young man has been able to do with a baseball bat and his arm and his legs. And so the maturity of understanding what it felt like to have the season that he had last year, being able to bounce back, it should be a lot of fun. And I think Donnie Kelly's a good manager to continue to pull that out of him.
Yeah, we want to see the home run derby all year long. KY, I know we only have just a brief couple minutes here left. Just quickly, wanted to get your thoughts. How do you feel about DK and the coaching staff that he put together? Beasley, a familiar face, coming back as well for you. So what are your thoughts quickly on that?
Super excited. I think that's what you love to see about guys that connect. These are connecting type people. And at the end of the day, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to pro sports, and any sports really, it's about the connection. It's first the man or the woman in the case, but in this case it's the man, and then it's the player. And I think that's where Donnie Kelly is really good at. And those coaching staff that he's put around, they connect with men first, and you benefit from the player later. And that's how you sustain things throughout the course of an entire season. So I think for that reason, I think the staff's been in a good spot. We're super excited to get out there down in Bradenton. And I think you can see by the smile of your face, And so, and thank you guys, honestly, for always being so supportive, coming out to an event like this. It's been a lot of fun seeing you guys out here. It makes me feel really good and very hopeful for this upcoming season. So thank you.
Thank you, KY. We appreciate your time here. Always appreciate seeing your smile up on the stage. Alex, awesome to get to reconnect with you here. I know he was excited to see the fans here in Pittsburgh. As he said, he hasn't been back in a while. But, hey, Pirates Fest is always here for the fans. We have a great time. And I think we've had a great time up here today as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just live right down the road. It's not like I'm far.
Hey, come on.
I live here.
Get down
so
here more.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
got to get in here more. So I'll be here more.
All right. Well, if you miss seeing Alex's face at all, you can always tune in to the Bucs Bounty podcast on SportsNet Pittsburgh. It's been streaming live to YouTube. If you're just coming in the doors and you missed any of our guests or anything that they talked about, it will be on our SportsNet Pittsburgh YouTube channel. Thank you so much to all the fans who have showed up. I know it's cold outside, but you guys have come in here to celebrate the Pirates. You give us support all season long. Trust us when we say we appreciate your energy in the stadiums. We love getting to meet all of you. Say hi if you haven't yet. We'd love to take a picture, sign an autograph, and just have a conversation and give our appreciation to you for everything you all do. We're all hoping for a very successful 2026 season with the Pittsburgh Pirates. We see a lot of these guys. We know how hard they're working, and we can tell you if it's anything we've heard and seen this weekend, we're expecting something exciting for the fans.
No doubt. And let's go Bucs.
Let's go Bucs. Thank you guys for tuning in to Bucs Bounty. Thank you for supporting SportsNet Pittsburgh. Drive safe, everybody, from Snowmageddon, but also maybe get outside, build a snowman. Build a pirate snowman. Show us, share us, tweet it out. We love to see all of you guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Go Bucs.